Hello, I'm Wade Shepard from VagabondJourney.com. I'm in Taizhou, in Jiangsu province of China, and I'm standing in front of a construction site of where an old kind of historic neighborhood is being torn down to build a new modern neighborhood. And you can see behind me, this is the construction site of where they started tearing down the buildings. A bit across the street. This is the construction site, and you can see they already started work. As part of this onward roll of rampant progress that China is going through right now. Look at this. You can see the old buildings way back there in the background. I'm gonna go into this neighborhood now, or the old part of it, or what remains of it, to show you kind of how this place was before they started this project. Okay, I'm now walking into the community that's being torn down to build the new modernized version, and you can see they've already started. Well, they already vacated and these buildings, which looks to be pretty complete. Oh, there's a place some people are still living in here, and this is all going to be torn down pretty soon. This dog doesn't like me here. But, hey. Yeah. See, this dog is trying to bite me here, but let's see. Yeah. You see, coming in through here, this is kind of a newer building here, and I'm back in the alleys of the older buildings that are set to be torn down. And this is it's the way the world works, you know. You build something and tear it down, you build something else on top of the rubble, building one world on top of another, top of another, on top of another. Old China's disappearing. It's which, I mean, the old world is disappearing pretty much, but what I mean by the old China's disappearing is that you can see it. It's disappearing right before your eyes. And the old communities that used to, live on the ground level, and I mean, it's real common in China to sell things, and have run little businesses out of your house, and everyone lives on the ground floor. You can do that. Everyone has access to the street, they sit outside in front of their house and sell things. But now everyone's being moved into like these big high-rise apartments. You can see one in the background way over there, and people don't have access to the streets, and they can't sell their stuff in the streets anymore. And this changes the culture, it changes the society, and people move on and find other ways of living and other ways of organizing themselves. Yeah. Dodging. Yes. And the world changes, the world's always changing, but it's also good to document what it was before we move on to what it's going to be, or speak of China, what it is right now. And, well, See this? Everything you see here is going to be torn down. And I see a sign over there that you see that's a sign of what this area is proposed to look like. You know, they have this whole canal front project planned, and this place is going to look a lot different 5 years from now. And actually, from what I hear, Taizhou is a completely different place than what it was. Yeah. Compared to what it was, 20 years ago. It's a completely different city. Essentially tore down what was here and built up pretty much a brand new city on the ruins of the old. And what's interesting is that the project still hasn't been completed yet. You can see these still old buildings on the other side of the canal. They'll be axed. I mean, they may be torn down before I leave here in a year. And then there's, this guy, the construction worker, the face of progress, modern China. It's the way it all works, And what's real interesting being in China now is that you can see this change happening, I mean, I can see it last time when I first started traveling in China was 2005, and you can see the changes then, you can see the changes now, and I guarantee that the places that I was at in 2005, 2006, and 2007 are completely different now. These places, it's changing before your eyes, it's changing before my eyes, and it's an incredibly interesting time to be in China. It's not often that you can just sit somewhere and just watch the landscape change. And so, this is the scene that Chinese people, or at least the Chinese government, likes to see. Cranes building high-rises. The wheels of progress and, a government-set GDP. In the middle of all the modern buildings and high-rises and hospitals and offices and businesses, and there is this more of a traditional style, ground level residential community in smack in the center of Taizhou, and it really sticks out as a sore thumb of sorts when it's contrasted against the surroundings. But it's pretty much 3 or 4 blocks of older style brick style single story buildings. And people who live there, live in more of a street-centric community, which is very different than the apartment high-rise culture. And this community stretches back behind these 2 bigger buildings in the foreground, and it goes around it. And it's just basically two radically different styles of architecture from 2 drastically different times existing side by side, and I have to wonder how long it is before this old community's days are numbered, and the whole landscape of Taizhou is all high rises. I'm now down inside the more more traditional style community that was from the last clip. I'm going to take a walk through here and kind of show you what another aspect of Chinese residential life that's not from high-rise apartment buildings. You see all these buildings are single-story buildings. They're pretty old, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're in disrepair. I mean, they're still functioning. Well, first they're all still functioning and totally livable, but they're definitely old. As you can see, people are in the streets in front of their houses. A lot have little businesses that they run from the front of their homes. Ni hao. Ni hao. Ni hao. Ni hao. Ni看小洋娃娃漂亮吗？再见。加油！再加油！好漂亮吗？给它抱一下。抱一下。哦，不可以啊！哎，这个对，这么漂亮啊！比上那个。抓了。对呀。OK。哎，你看那个就从那个身上。啊 ，Petra, look at the little girl。这么漂亮啊！我那个小洋娃娃，这样洋娃娃，这么漂亮啊！这个特别最红的，哪里？这没记得。不是有，那么漂亮啊！那个。OK。这多漂亮啊！这个。Beautiful girl. 啊，谢谢你。OK。哎，那个吃的就对了。They like your white legs, kid. Say thank you. Thank you. 你想的漂亮了。Thank you. OK. Say 再见。问了哪个国家的？再见。拜拜。啊，美国。American. Yeah. 美国可以。你是不是美国的？你会讲啊？英文的？一点点。啊，一点点。That's good. 你是美国的 ？Do you live here in this community? 你就在这儿？对。哎，你那个这么漂亮啊，给他。天天。好哪的？这个城市好美。还没。Beautiful. Yeah. 香爸爸。啊，that little girl's talking to you. 跟妈妈说呢。妈妈连我你的。再见。这个强宝宝。Wave goodbye, Petra. Goodbye. 好，拜拜。I don't know how much of that actually got on the video, but here you see people here hanging out in the streets, hanging out with their neighbors and family members, and I stop and talk to people who walk by. It's a different style of living here. In the more traditional style communities. Oh wow, look at that. That's cool. It's a cool moth. But it's a different style of living here. And these more ground level, older style traditional dwellings than it is in the high rises. In the high rises, people seldom talk to each other. You get in the elevator, you don't really talk. Here, people are living with their neighbors, not just next to their neighbors. It's two very, very different living strategies. Yeah, you can be in the video at the end, okay? And people have little gardens out in front of their houses. Oh, dirty laundry. These older style communities, while they speak subjectively, they seem like excellent places to live. Neighbors and family all around you. People to talk to. Places to hang out. Yeah. 你们好。
I want Emma, Ma, let's go to Dad. Dad, I want to go home. I want to be home.
Okay. And the days of these older style urban communities are numbered, as you saw from the first clip in this video. They're tearing them down and building high rises and relocating the people. These are some examples of the new modern high-rises that are going up all through China, and basically the country's tearing down all the old traditional communities and building these high-rises. Like many of the more modern cities of eastern China, they're pretty much just a sea of massive colossal apartment blocks. Now, I don't want to make any value judgments here, but when people move from the more traditional ground level extended family housing and into these high rises, the community changes, the way people socialize and interact with each other changes, and to some extent the economical initiatives of the culture change. And we're seeing this change all over China. When Mao kicked the bucket, China was 10% urban. The population of China was 10% urban, 90% agrarian. Most people were farmers living on the countryside. But now, 30, 40 years later, China is 70% urban and only 30% agrarian, and the population is vastly greater. So the fact of the matter is that you can fit in more people. You can fit in vastly more people per square meter of ground space in a high rise than you can in the old style brick and wood extended family housing. And these are the changes that we're seeing all through China. They're going community by community, getting rid of the old and putting up the new. This is modern Asia.